All right, today we are tackling visceral fat, but we're gonna flip the usual script. Because what if getting rid of it isn't about what you cut out of your diet, but about the powerful signals you can send your body with the foods you add in? So let's just start with this question right there. What if losing that stubborn belly fat isn't some battle of restriction, but more of a strategy of addition? It's a really interesting way to think about it, because visceral fat, well, it's not just about calories. It's a biologically active tissue, and it responds to very specific biochemical signals from the food we eat. But before we get to all the amazing foods that can help, we really need to understand what we're up against. So let's take a minute to break down this hidden health threat. So what even is visceral fat? Well, it's the deep internal fat that literally wraps around your abdominal organs. We're talking your liver, your intestines. And here's the most important part. It's not just sitting there doing nothing. You can think of it like a hormone factory that's constantly pumping out inflammatory signals that can mess with your entire body. And this little comparison really clears things up. See, subcutaneous fat, that's the stuff right under your skin, the stuff you can pinch. But visceral fat is hidden, it's deep inside, and it is highly metabolically active. And that, right there, is what makes it so much more dangerous. It's why we're targeting it so specifically. Okay, so now we know what we're dealing with, let's talk strategy. Our very first approach is to fight inflammation head-on. Visceral fat absolutely thrives in an inflamed environment, so our first move is to add foods that basically help put out that fire. And on the menu for this strategy, we've got 3 anti-inflammatory powerhouses: walnuts, fatty fish, and of course, extra virgin olive oil. Let's take a quick look at how each one gets the job done. First up, we've got walnuts. These are just fantastic. They're packed with a very special type of healthy fat, an omega-3 called alpha-linoleic acid. And what this does is it works to calm down those inflammatory signals we were just talking about. And just as important, it helps your body use insulin way more effectively. And this quote just brilliantly illustrates the point. Listen to this. Studies show that a high intake of these specific fats reduced visceral fat. And here's the kicker: independent of overall body weight loss. What does that mean? It means walnuts have a targeted effect, even if the number on the scale doesn't budge. Okay, building on that idea of targeted effects, let's talk about fatty fish like salmon or sardines. The omega-3s in these fish are absolute superstars at reducing fat buildup in the liver. And that is so crucial because you can think of your liver as your body's metabolic gatekeeper. When you improve its health, a reduction in visceral fat often follows right behind. Now check out this number, 80%. A 9-week study found that the people who consumed extra virgin olive oil saw 80% greater fat loss compared to a group that was using soybean oil. So how is that even possible? Well, it's the powerful antioxidants in high-quality olive oil called polyphenols. They essentially flip a switch in your body, telling it to burn fat instead of storing it. Pretty incredible. All right, moving on to our second strategy. This one is all about improving your body's metabolic signals. Think of it like this. We're going to add foods that give your body better, clearer instructions on how to handle sugar and energy a lot more efficiently. And the foods for this strategy might surprise you a little bit. We are looking at dark chocolate, broccoli sprouts, and blueberries. Yep, you heard me right, dark chocolate. But, and this is a big but, we're being very specific here. It has to be 85% cacao or higher. At that level, the powerful plant compounds inside get to work improving how your body handles sugar and reducing cellular damage, which is known as oxidative stress. And believe me, it works. Trials have shown significant reductions in visceral fat with just a small amount each day. Now, this might be one of the most powerful foods on our entire list: broccoli sprouts. The magic ingredient here is called sulforaphanane, and it has this amazing triple action effect. First, it activates your body's own internal defense system. Second, it calms that harmful inflammation that visceral fat loves so much. And third, it actually tells your liver to slow down its glucose production, which is a major driver of visceral fat storage. Next up, blueberries. They are just loaded with compounds called anthocyanins, which are actually the pigments that give them that gorgeous deep blue color. And as this chart shows, one study linked a higher intake of these compounds with 9% lower visceral fat. So they essentially send signals that tell your body to speed up the whole process of breaking down fat. Our third and final strategy brings us to a really fascinating area of research: boosting your gut health. The connection between the trillions of tiny organisms living in your gut and the amount of visceral fat you carry is becoming clearer and clearer every single day. And to do that, we're adding two really simple foods to our diet: chia seeds and Greek yogurt.
Okay, chia seeds. These are packed with soluble fiber, which is basically the perfect food for your good gut bacteria. When they feast on this fiber, they produce these compounds that reduce inflammation. And the result? A huge meta-analysis found that eating chia seeds led to up to a 2.8 centimeter reduction in waist circumference. That's something you can actually measure. It's tangible.
And then you've got Greek yogurt. According to a massive meta-analysis, higher consumption was linked with a 21% reduction in the risk of abdominal obesity. You can think of it as a 1-2 punch. The protein keeps you full, and the probiotics support a healthy gut, which helps reduce that systemic inflammation we've been talking about. Okay, wow, we have covered a lot of ground. So, how do we put all of this together into something we can actually do? Well, let's build your action plan. So here it is, your complete toolkit. This slide basically summarizes everything we've talked about into a simple, actionable guide. Just notice how manageable these goals are. A small handful of walnuts, fatty fish a couple of times a week, one small square of dark chocolate. These are not drastic, life-altering changes. They are small, strategic additions that can make a huge, huge difference. This is definitely one you're going to want to screenshot for later. So the crucial takeaway here is simple. The quality of the food you eat fundamentally changes how your body processes energy. It's not just about calories in, calories out anymore. Small, strategic additions of the right foods can send powerful biochemical signals that lead to really big results in shrinking that dangerous visceral fat. You know, every single meal is an opportunity. Your food is sending signals to your body all day long. So the only question left is, what message are you going to send today?